Episode 3 Room Permissions. Welcome back. This is the third episode in Compensation Behind the Scenes, a series where we go in depth on the internal workings of our multiplayer social game Compensation and talk about some related computer science along the way. Today we're going to be discussing room permissions, or more aptly, permissions and roles. The two are separate concepts, but they join together to make sure you control exactly who can do what in your rooms. The overall system is then called room permissions. Room permissions allow you fine-grained control over who can do what in your rooms. This includes typical things like using your creation tool, camera, or the ability to join, but also includes things like editing permissions and other room information. Here we can see some example permissions. These are not the only permissions in-game. As you can see, there's a fairly wide variation, but most have to do with controlling creation access. Permissions are individual enums or booleans specifying what a user can, can't, or should do. These include the ones we showed before. A role is a collection of permissions which can be applied to any number of users. By default, when you create a room, there are two roles which cannot be deleted. The owner role cannot be edited, but the everyone role can. The owner role is automatically assigned to the creator of the room and cannot be removed. The everyone role is applied to any player without a role. Players can only have one role applied at a time. You can create any number of roles with a custom name. However, the names must be unique. You can edit and delete any custom role. As a reminder, permissions are a subset of roles. Each role has multiple permissions under it. Here we can see the room permissions of rows/glass. As you can see, we have two roles, everyone and owner, as is required by default. The owner of the room, ID 2, has been assigned the owner role. Here we can see the unfolded permissions in these roles. As you can see, this is a private room, so the everyone role has no permissions. However, as is normal, the owner role has every permission. In-game, permissions and roles are represented using three classes. Here, you can see the permissions static class. This holds our current permissions table and gives us a way to update it. Now, let's look at the permissions table class. This is essentially a wrapper over a dictionary string to Boolean, but rather than throwing a key not found exception when we try to access a missing key, it simply returns false. Now for the last class. The static permission class is used to store the key for each permission, allowing us to look it up safely. These three classes combined make it a simple matter to safely access the current room permissions without worrying about memorizing dictionary keys or checking if the dictionary contains the item first. We're constantly looking for ways to improve, and the room permissions system is no exception to this. We have a few changes in the works, but the general concept remains the same. Make sure to tune in for the next episode, where we'll discuss the inner workings of our creation tools in depth, from meshes to materials. Thanks for watching.